Hi guys, sorry I haven't made a video for a while, been quite sick and very busy with Chinese New Year. Just going to do an update of all my tanks. So this is the Guppy Endler hybrid tank with all the Hygrophila, Corium Bosa. They're doing pretty well, but I need to up the lighting on this because at the moment it's only got one LED over the top of it. It probably needs two of them because it's quite a wide tank, but all the fish are doing reasonably well. There's been a whole bunch of fry in the fancy guppy tank. Crypticorns are doing quite well, like over here. This is already sending up a rhizome up the top over here, so the crypts are doing quite well. The other side, the Glossostigma is melted back quite a bit, as I thought it probably would. This isn't actually how it usually grows. I pushed it underneath the substrate because this bit came out of a different tank, but it's kind of floating up. But some places, as you can see here and there and over here, sending out the rhizome, so it is starting to grow, which is good. It's just not going to cooperate with me and do it the way I wanted it to. It's going to send up a whole bunch of shit just floating up the top there. This is the Hygrophila deformis. Yeah, just some stems I chucked in there because it's not doing too well where I had it, so I need to sort out something soon because I still haven't cleared this area for the other three tanks yet. So the Endlers are doing quite well, and so is this huge ass pond snail. I'll come back to the snails in a minute. The red guppies and the dwarf hairgrass are doing very well. They had babies, but unfortunately none of the red traits have come through. It's just kind of a assorted guppy fry at the moment. There's two of them. There should be 3 or 4 of them, but they can be hiding behind the sponge filter. These plants are taking forever to establish. You can see down here actually it's rotted a bit, so I'll have to trim the stem and replant it. The reason why this has happened is because if you saw my earlier videos, I had it in the bottom tank down here when it was somewhere else and had sand, and the filtration crapped out and it just caused the water to go quite bad, and I just wasn't able to do anything because I was dirt poor at the time. So it's just going to take a long time for these to recover the way I want them to. But down here everything is doing quite well. Plants are coming up, Liquidia and the Liriopsis and the cat litter. That's growing very well, the cat litter. So these are the Endler guppy hybrids. So what the lineage of these guys are actually is just some fancy guppies with your traditional Endlers, and then mixed with some tiger Endlers. That's why these females have got that yellow and blue in the back from the tiger Endlers, because if you see a lot of female tiger Endlers will actually have that. And then down here you can see the characteristics of some of the male Endler coming through, but with fancy guppy offshoots. So it's bringing in the red from them, and like the black bars. They're really nice tails actually. They're quite pointed. They're not sword tails or anything. They're kind of like a raindrop if you had the narrow end of the raindrop pointing away from the fish. So that was quite interesting to see the tail development from crossbreeding different fish. So I've had a question a few weeks ago asking about the snails in the tank. I actually don't have snails in the tanks on purpose. It's just something that kind of happened because I'm not going to bleach my plants before I put them in the tank because, you know, laziness and it can kill the plants, so I'm just really not bothered doing that. The reason why the snails don't really bother me is because I have a background in horticulture. I actually understand the relationship between pests and plants and all this other stuff. So the aquatic snails generally only eat the rotting vegetation. So if you've got healthy plants with no dead bits on there, the snails aren't going to really touch them. They're going to prefer to eat stuff that's easier for them to digest, like decaying plant matter. So you'll see like this stem here, if there were snails, they'd be all over that, eating that, and there'd be a floating stem in the tank and I'd have to replant, which I still have to replant, but it's hanging by a thread. Yeah, you see there's one ram's horn snail on there. So ram's horn snails and pond snails are generally the only ones I have. You can get the there's the other babies, the mystery snails, the golden ones, but I find they always do runners on me. Like if they want to leave the tank, they will, or if they're in a fish pond and it starts raining, then they decide they want to go for a walk through the grass, and then you got to spend the next 3 hours trying to find all the little bastards. So I just haven't worried about them for quite a few years, and it's been one less headache. But yeah, generally they're just all ram's horn snails. So they usually have a good relationship with the fish. They eat the leftover food on the bottom, and they eat some of the algae that grows on the sides of the glass, but they won't eat stuff like this, which is the hair algae, which I'll need to pull out. Shrimp won't eat that. There are some fish that will, but it's really, if you're trying to breed live bearers, it's really not worth having them together, because out of all these fry in the end of the tank, there would be none if I had the Siamese algae eaters. Alright. I can't think of anything I've left out, but I'll do another video and see if I find anything else.